So today we're going to be diving in more into Think and Grow Hit Rich by Napoleon Hill. And this book really has so much content and it's so rich in information that is so valuable that I think it takes a lot of lectures really to really discuss this book. But I think really today we're going to be going over really how the importance of understanding the idea that we are the masters of our destiny and that we have the ability, in fact, to control our circumstances to a greater degree than we realize, and really how we can move in the direction of where we want to go, and whether it is to improve our financial status, our health, our relationships, to achieve whatever dreams we want, whatever that is, that we really have the ability to succeed. And I think I want to start with a quote from obviously Napoleon Hill's book, where he says that before success comes in any man's life, he is sure to meet with much temporary defeat and perhaps some failure. When defeat overtakes a man, the easiest and most logical thing to do is to quit. That is exactly what the majority of men do. More than 500 of the most successful men this country has ever known told the author the greatest success came just one step beyond the point at which defeat had overtaken them. And obviously, it's when it comes to failure, some of the most successful individuals in business and sports and academics or in any field experience a significant amount of failure. In our society, we tend to only focus on the successes. And obviously, when we see someone successful on television, on social media, we see all the success they've had, whether it's celebrities or entrepreneurs, what have you. We don't realize that how they got here was that they experienced an extraordinary amount of failure and disappointment. And in fact, being an entrepreneur and also working in academia, where I've had the opportunity to work with many young entrepreneurs, I see this quite often where entrepreneurs maybe pitch to an investor or they pursue a business and they experience or they launch a startup and they experience some disappointment, some challenges, and then they end up quitting without realizing that they're actually one step closer to achieving their dream or their goal. And this happens more often than not because unfortunately failure can be very painful. And disappointment and struggle and frustration can really overtake people. And I've experienced this myself. But I think what Hill really is stressing here is that to succeed in any avenue of life, it requires understanding that we will experience temporary defeat and that this is the natural journey we all experience to getting where we want to be, whether it's to achieve financial independence, to start a business, improve one's health, or whatever other goal we may have. So Hill then says the starting point of all achievement is desire. Keep this constantly in mind. Weak desire brings weak results, just as a small fire makes a small amount of heat. So then to overcome these temporary setbacks and challenges that we experience, then it requires that we have intense desire for something. We don't want to be neutral or indifferent to our lives and to what we want. We want to have this intense desire. And this is something I've discussed in my other lectures and discussing Neville Goddard's work, where he says that feeling is the secret, where we must feel as if what we want is within reach, or that we embody and become the person that brings forth what we want in our lives. So it is reshifting our focus to focus more on what we want, and within our mental studio and within our minds, we begin to cultivate these feelings of empowerment, of abundance, of love, of peace, of joy, and of success. That we don't need to wait for something out there to change us, that we have within us the tools and abilities to imagine new horizons, and then again begin to cultivate these feelings of desire where what we want is already within reach. And this is very important because this vision, this feeling of empowerment and of success and abundance will help us overcome these challenges and setbacks that we experience. And with this desire then, and by harnessing this desire, as Hill says, you are then become the master of your destiny. You can influence, direct, and control your own environment. You can make your life what you want it to be. So then by harnessing this desire and this vision and feeling as if the wish is fulfilled, then we do what the vast majority of the population does not do. And that is really control our destiny. And that all starts with the mind and our perception of ourselves and the world around us. And again, really how we experience life is through our senses and our perceptions of the world. And we begin to change our perceptions about what is possible. We believe that there's a lot more to life than what we can see at face value, that there's possibility and new experiences waiting for us. This creates a sense of excitement that we want to hold on to, that will help catapult us to quantum leaps into new levels of success and abundance. And what Hill says then, that kind of reinforces what I just discussed with desire, that more gold had been mined from the mind of men than the earth itself. So here then, if we are to change our external circumstances, we must change then what's within our own minds. And when you think of any book that has been written, or film that has been made, or business or product that has been developed, or any achievement by any famous figure or celebrity or political figure, it all started with an idea. Say, for example, say with J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling with the idea of writing Harry Potter. And as she was writing her first novel in the Harry Potter series, there was nothing in her environment to validate that what she wanted to achieve was possible. But yet she had that idea. She had this piece of gold in her mind that she cultivated, this desire that she really worked on until she eventually achieved an enormous amount of success as an author in the Harry Potter series, which has created so much joy for millions of people. And again, it all started with an idea. What idea do you have, perhaps to write for a book, or for a play, or for a business you want to start, or maybe an idea to go back to school? Perhaps it's an invention that you want to create, whatever that may be. Or it could be an idea to help our environment, to improve our environment, or make our lives better, and to improve people's lives and self-esteem. What are those ideas? That one idea that you have can transform your life and transform the life of others. Just one idea. And that is what Hill is really saying here, where our minds are really a gold mine that can radically transform our lives for the better. And that's something we really want to think about as we begin to make these new decisions and really think about new vistas and new horizons for the kind of life we want to live, that it is our mind that is the key, and how we use it to achieve a quantum leap and achieve abundance. And then Hill says that there's a difference between wishing for a thing and being ready to receive it. Again, it's about desire. No one is ready for a thing until he believes he can acquire it. The state of mind must be belief, not mere hope or wish. Open-mindedness is essential for belief. So what is then belief? So many of our beliefs and our behaviors are totally unconscious. We don't even realize that we're engaging in these behaviors. And many of our beliefs have been cemented in our personality through repetition, or through repetitive thoughts and behavior over time, where our personality has become our personal reality. So then for us to change and to cultivate this desire and these feelings of abundance, we must begin believing that we have the ability to change, that what we want is possible. If we don't believe that we can change, if we don't believe that we can achieve financial abundance, or love, or health, or peace, or happiness, they will not be brought forth into our lives. So then belief, I think, can be defined, at least I think for one good definition of belief, is a consistent thoughts and ideas that inhabit our mind on a daily basis, on a consistent basis. So if we're constantly thinking about how inadequate we are in business or in relationships, and these negative self-limiting beliefs are part of this mental studio that we have, we imagine how insignificant we are, or inadequate we are. These consistent thoughts and ideas form or shape beliefs about ourselves and about the world. So then if we are to change our beliefs, then we must be much more deliberate in being much more consistent with more positive thoughts about ourselves and the world around us. That we are adequate, we are enough. We begin asking ourselves empowering questions. What would it feel like if I accomplished this particular goal now? What would that feel like? And when we cultivate this desire and feeling within us, eventually over time, if we stay consistent with it and persistent, and not let setbacks and frustrations deter us from changing our beliefs, and over time we can change our beliefs for the better, to more empowering ones. It's about the consistent thoughts and ideas and actions that we engage in on a daily basis that can determine our beliefs for better or for worse. So then remember too that all who succeed in life get off to a bad start and pass through many heartbreaking struggles before they arrive. The turning point in the lives of those who succeed usually comes at some moment of crisis through which they are introduced to their other selves. So this reminds me of the dark night of the soul, something that Carl Jung discussed a lot in his work, where we all experience moments of intense pain and disappointment, to where the pain is so intense that we can no longer take it, that we have to change, we have to do something. And Tony Robbins, in fact, talks a lot about this in his work in Awaken the Giant Within, where he really discusses how to utilize, that really we make all of our decisions by minimizing pain and maximizing pleasure. And that we want to use pain as a way, as really fuel to bring forth change or more positive change. Where we experience so much pain that we have no other alternative, we have to make new decisions that will help move us away from this pain and move us to better horizons. So it's not about ignoring our circumstances or just being unrealistic with positive affirmations where we're just ignoring our reality of what's going on. We have to acknowledge where we are. But once we acknowledge where we are, then we can make new decisions that can help us move away from the pain and move us to a more abundant and prosperous life. So then the most practical of all methods for controlling the mind is the habit of keeping it busy with a definite purpose, backed by a definite plan. So I think the criticism of Think and Grow Rich, and I think with discussing the law of attraction, is that it's the idea that if, say, for example, you just sit in your couch and you just think about you want to earn $1 million, and in a week or so, it's just going to magically show up in your bank account. That is not how this process of manifestation works. You need to have not just desire, but a definite plan, a plan of action, or at the very least, know what it is that you want and where you want to go. Without a definite plan or at least an idea of what you want, then it becomes much more difficult to change your current circumstances that may not be very desirable. So that a man whose mind is filled with fear not only destroys his own chances of intelligent action, but he transmits these destructive vibrations to the minds of all who come in contact with him and destroys also their chances. So we can see how negative emotions and negative thoughts can really be detrimental, not just to yourself, but to other people. And I've been around individuals who emanate these negative vibrations. And you can sense that when you're around somebody who makes you feel very uncomfortable because they seem to be very negative. They're always complaining. They always seem to be griping about something. And this negative vibe that just rubs you the wrong way. But then, of course, if you could be at a get-together or a networking event or a party, and someone comes in who just emanates this vibration, this vibe, this positive vibe, where you just want to be around that person. We've encountered those kind of people as well. And it's those individuals that really understand how to use their minds to achieve what they want, especially when it comes to relationships and achieving other goals within their lives. At the very least, they know how to transmit positive vibrations to themselves and to other people. And we can see then how negative energy can impact you in many ways, and it can impact others. So then that doesn't mean that we're never going to experience fear. In fact, quite the opposite. But when we push past this fear and we embrace for what it is and not try to force an outcome and live in the present moment now where what we want is already within us, then we can cultivate these more positive vibrations that I think can really help us build better relationships, not just with other people, but also ourselves. So faith is the head chemist of the mind. When faith is blended with the vibration of thought, the subconscious mind instantly picks up the vibration, translates it into its spiritual equivalent, and transmits it to infinite intelligence, as in the case of prayer. So then faith is the head chemist of the mind. This got my attention. So I think what Hill was really stressing here, without even realizing, is that really how our thoughts and how we utilize our minds, if we're constantly engaging and indulging in negative thoughts over time, this can lead to stress and depression, which we know how stress and depression can really wreak havoc on the body and how stress can lead to disease. So we become our own head chemist in a way where we want to then really think about how our thoughts can really impact our body and can impact our world around us. And really, how about having faith? Again, we talked about belief before, having faith, cultivating with intense desire, with a vibration of thought that what you want is so real, you feel as if it's already yours. And remember, the subconscious mind does not know the difference between what is real or not. So when we hold on to that image of what it is that we want with such emotion and with such feeling as if the wish is fulfilled, acting as if our prayer has been answered, we tap into our higher mental faculties in the subconscious where we begin to move in the direction of where we want to go without even realizing it. Remember, as I mentioned before, the vast majority of our behaviors are unconscious. So then when we begin to really focus on that image with such intensity, we can't help but moving and vibrating in a way that moves us in the direction of our desires. And when this is transmitted to infinite intelligence, and with infinite intelligence, we can relate this as to, this could be symbolic of God, nature, energy, the universe, whatever other words you could use. It's acknowledging that perhaps there are forces beyond our understanding outside of us that are responsible for our entire world and the universe at large. And this universe can be overwhelming and daunting and even scary sometimes because it is so vast and mysterious. We don't know what it really means. But rather than being fearful of this vast universe and this mystery of life and this intelligence and God, we want to, rather than be fearful of it, use it to our advantage. Impress upon it what it is that we desire. Impress our love for it. And it will return that love to us. And we can then begin to live our lives in the present moment. We're no longer living based on the experiences of the past, but we are then moving to a more prosperous and abundant future. And I think that's just some of the really many overarching ideas that could be found in Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich, where we are the masters of our destiny. And to master our destiny, then it all starts with the mind and our beliefs and how we utilize our minds in such a way that can improve our lives for the better. So I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. You can watch all my lectures on personal growth, wealth building, creativity, and entrepreneurship. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.